Well, good morning. And it is a very early morning here in southeast Louisiana. As you know, I'm visiting family, and I got my family with me as well. But we came down here knowing that my brother-in-law is going to be in Mississippi. So Captain Jay is not with us this time around. So that meant me coming down and not having any plans to do any fishing. But you know what? Our old friends from Texas gave us a call, and we are going to meet up with them here. Actually, they're here, and you know what that means. Well, I don't have to tell you what that means. I got my lucky Snook Nook shirt on, and I got my Wright and McGill reel with me, so you know what that means. In just a few hours, my friend Art and I will be doing something very special. And you know me, in the process of doing that something special, there's going to be a BenUp moment. So stay tuned. All right, I am in South Louisiana again. This time Captain Jay's not with me because he's doing what a good dad should be doing. He's taking his son camping this weekend. So I'm here with my friend Art from Texas.
Howdy.
Howdy
Everyone.
Today we had the pleasure of having back behind me. That's
Captain Ryan.
Captain Ryan. He's born and bred here, so technically he's a real coon ass. So we are over here in Lafitte. Lafitte. What lake did we cross?
Oh, a bunch of them, man. We crossed Little Lake, Bayou Pirogue, and now we are in Brussels.
Brussels. So we are in Brussels. So he's the man. He's the captain. So let's see what we can get today. If there's any reds, anything with fins and that'll bite. So Art, we are getting him back into the fishing. I think he hasn't fished for like 20 years, a long time. And so I'm hoping to get a little bit of fishing back into him. Yeah. So how's fishing in the winter in Lafitte?
We get a lot of reds and base snapping. Sometimes we get deep back to travelers then. But usually the red fishing is pretty good.
Red fish.
He feels like he's going to be right on.
Yeah. Ooh, yellow. Yellow Art. Yeah, boy. Bring it in, Art. There we go. Red.
Oh, sorry.
Come back. There we go. All right, so we finished up over here in Lafitte, and we caught some redfish. So, you know, when you go out fishing and you don't know the area, because I've never been out here in Lafitte, and I don't know the bayous and the marshes, and I've never fished this area. You can get out there and go spot to spot to spot and try your best. But it would behoove you if you get yourself a guide, you know, because these guys, they know where to go and the conditions. We had the sun was out today, but the conditions weren't that great. We had dirty water. The winds were blowing at about 15, so we had a struggle out there. But we did catch some redfish. We had a bunch of redfish, and we had a good time. So if you ever go somewhere where you don't know the area, go with a guide. You're not going to go wrong. Okay, the guide, Ryan here, Captain Ryan, he's been fishing these waters for a long time, and they know the conditions. They know what's biting, where to bite, and that's so important because you know, we can do it on our own, but to maximize your best, especially in this conditions, it would be best to get yourself a guide. All right, so like I said, if you want to get out and you want to fish someplace you've never been, get yourself a guide.
Yeah. This man right here.
Captain Ryan, where can people get you?
You look me up on Facebook or Instagram, Real Cajun Family Excursions, or you can give me a call, 504-442-5636.
That's for a fishing guide. Don't call for nothing else, though, right? So this fishing trip, what BenUp moment that I come up with it. You know what? I kept thinking about our reliance on Ryan, the captain, because we didn't know where we're going, and he knew what techniques, what to use, what baits, where to go, to conditions, and it reminded me about our need for a spiritual director. And we need a spiritual director, especially somebody who has knowledge. And I've said this before. I've said this before in a previous video, but I'll say it again, and I'll probably keep saying this: that we need a spiritual director to get the. It's spiritual directors are not just for the religious or priests. Well, they're for us. They're for us to help us navigate through life's challenges and help us get to heaven. But they're also very helpful, because if we're trying to connect to our Catholic roots, we need spiritual directors who are very knowledgeable. I've said this before: if you ever had to pick between a holy and pious spiritual director and a knowledgeable one, always pick the knowledgeable one. If you can get somebody who's both knowledgeable and holy and pious, even better. But the first spiritual director I picked, he was very knowledgeable in both the Novus Ordo Mass and the traditional Latin Mass. And that really came in handy because he was able to help me navigate to my transition to the traditional Latin Mass without getting into the trap a lot of people do, and where they totally reject the Novus Ordo Mass. And to me, I'm glad that didn't happen to me. And I've talked about that before. Check out my one video about how to be a traditional Catholic in a non-traditional church. But that priest helped me very much. My current spiritual director I found while going to confession. He was a Institute of Christ the King Sovereign priest, and I've never really spoken. I've met him in person, but when I was at the confessional, and after he gave me absolution, and he talked about my penance and whatnot, it was very clear to me that he was very knowledgeable. He was very familiar with the old rites, the traditional theology, the roots of our Catholic faith. So I chose him to be a spiritual director, and I tell you, it's something I would recommend everybody to do. When I say everybody, I mean everybody. If you think about it today, when we went out fishing, we had Art, who is hasn't fished for a while, so experience-wise in fishing, he's a little bit kind of on the beginner side. And then you have me. Certainly, I'm not a pro, but I'm not inexperienced as well. And then you have the Captain Ryan, who's been fishing for quite a while now. So at all levels, we need, just like in fishing, we need spiritual directors for all levels. You know, for people who are just getting into the faith or wanting to start deepening the faith, they need spiritual directors. And for people like me who decided to connect with my Catholic roots, like I mentioned earlier, it's when we connect to our Catholic roots, to the tradition of Catholicism, it's easy to go into either extremes in this, and where we have extremes of at both ends, where it's very liberal extremes, or at the other spectrum, where we start seeing everything that's from Vatican II on as something we have to totally reject. Now, as you know, I go to the Latin Mass. It's been going on 5 years since I decided to connect to my Catholic roots. At first it was through the liturgy, but through that process, if I didn't have a spiritual director and all this stuff that I see on YouTube, I can easily go down the wrong path. I've come to realize that it's God's permissive will that all these crazy things have happened, and all these crazy things are happening. For some reason, the paganism that we're seeing at the Vatican and everything that's happening these days is God's permissive will. It's not his active will. He doesn't want this. But he's allowing it for a reason. And without a spiritual director, a good, knowledgeable spiritual director, it's easy for me to go down the wrong path. And even for those who are very knowledgeable in the faith, whether they be theologians or whatnot, but people, even they need spiritual directors, because it's St. Augustine himself who has said that we all need more correctors. It's always good that we all have spiritual directors at all levels, just like fishing. All right, so you know, even Captain Ryan told me that when he goes out fishing, if you go out to Venice, down to Venice, Louisiana, or if he goes offshore, he's certainly not a offshore fisherman. So he gets himself a good guide, and that guide will take him out there, and he will show them the techniques, where to fish, and what to do. So at all levels, we all need spiritual directors. Like we could benefit from spiritual directors, just like we could benefit from fishing guides. So how to find one would be really to just ask around, get in touch with some good traditional Catholics in the area, ask them about who they use, get connected with your local fraternity society, St. Peter Order, or the Institute of Christ the King Sovereign Priest Order, or find a good diocesan priest who's really orthodox and familiar with good sound theology. I've mentioned this before. There was an interview done with Father Ripperger where he talks about the theology of the past and the theology as it came across modernism, and how it affected a lot of priests in the past, and which affects a lot of priests today. So check that link below, because that's very informative. It'll help you probably discern and find a good priest. If you could find a priest who's also aware of what modernism is, that'll help you as well. So to wrap this up, get out there, go fish, and find yourself a guide in a new area. If the traditional Catholic faith is new to you, if you're connecting to your Catholic roots, get yourself a spiritual director. That's a must. All right. So until next time, like I always say, engage in life's spiritual battles, make a Catholic difference. Connect to your Catholic roots. Don't just man up, don't just woman up. Be like St. Benedict and BenUp. Hey, this is Rex. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, hit the like, so that YouTube knows it's a good video and they'll air it some more. But also hit the subscribe button and the bell, ding ding, so you can stay notified every time a new episode comes out. Until next time, God bless you.